Greetings, Swamp Foxes. This is Troy Newham, author of 28th Floor, The Search for Love, Hope, and Faith, available on Amazon.com. And today I'd like to talk about heroes and villains of the Constitution in this week's message from Moses. Okay, the heroes of the Constitution this week are Rand Paul and David Kucinich. Who knew? Okay, Rand Paul, thank you for standing up for against John Kerry and explaining that Congress has the ability to declare war. And Kucinich, thank you for saying that Obama should be impeached if he goes to war after Congress shoots him down. Now, okay, Congress has the ability to declare war. The fact of the matter is that an act of war is de facto declaring war. There is no such thing as a limited war. Presidents do not have the ability to declare limited war. It's nowhere in the Constitution. I'm not even sure it's anywhere in literature or history books ever until about 2 weeks ago. Who has the limited war? We're going to declare limited war. What the heck is that? And what do you even do with that? Limited war? No, there's total war. Yes, total war exists. That's when you go after them with everything you got. That's what you should do. That's the only thing you ever should do. Limited war? What do you do with that? It's retarded. Okay? But no, let's say, limited war, you can do limited war. Well, what do you mean?
Well, we mean that you can go in and you can fire missiles anytime you want.
Okay, so we can go in and we can fire missiles into Syria without an act of war. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. That's limited war.
Can you do that to China?
Oh, God, no. China would hit back.
Wait, it's the same thing, right? We're launching missiles into both countries. Both countries have human rights violations. What's the difference?
Well, China's big and scary. Ooh.
Oh, so what you're really saying is that the president can be a bully, right? The president can beat up anyone he wants at any time. You know, you could also make the same. Let's take China out of it. Can he go down and attack Britain? Just Britain ticks him off one day, so he goes over there and fires a couple of missiles. Hey, it's limited war, man. This is the president. He can do whatever he wants. Well, no.
That doesn't apply to our allies, of course.
What about a neutral country? Can we go in and fire a couple into Sweden? Yeah, I mean, you know, they're neutral, right? Just boom, boom, boom. Why not? They're neutral. They're not an ally. I mean, come on. It's all good.
Well, no, we just mean, like, weak powers that no one really cares about or something. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me, but President Obama is the best.
Like, what? No. We all agreed that only Congress should have the ability to declare war. That was the way for us to stay out of the war, okay? You have to get all of Congress involved, and they're only going to get involved on important matters. That's what the founders had. One guy, a president, can lose his mind. One guy can get really ticked off and attack a country. All of Congress? No. Especially when they're worried about re-election. And that's the difference between those two. And also, it's a check and balance. Even if Congress loses their mind, the president, if he thinks it's an unjust war, if he thinks they're making a huge freaking mistake, he can always just say, alright, you've declared war, all of our troops are staying here, and we're not going out. And that's the difference. The only reason you have the president as being able to control him is you can't have, you know, hundreds of people trying to tell the military what to do. The military would go insane after a couple of days. They would be like, these people are idiots. Okay. Obama and Biden are both hypocrites. Biden, back when Bush was president, said Bush should be impeached if he went to war with Iran without getting congressional approval. Now he's all cool with it. He was cool with Libya. He was cool with Syria. The president can do whatever he wants as long as it's limited war. President Obama, back in 2008, said that he couldn't go to war without congressional approval. No president can, because the power to declare war rests in Congress. John Kerry, you know, Mr. Swift Boat himself, Mr. I'm going to testify against how evil our troops are and war crimes and how we're just butchering innocent women and children. I'm going to throw my medals over the gate. Mr. No country can declare war at any time unless they get UN approval. Alright, that guy right there is now all for it. Oh, and he expects us to believe the Middle East is going to pay for it, right? So what, are we mercenaries now? Do we go to war for anybody's self-interest? You know, Kerry is the biggest hypocrite of all. I mean, he made a career on being anti-war. Now he's all good with it. Okay, and there's a logical disconnect here. Alright, if I'm Assad, if I decide to use UN chemical weapons and risk the wrath of the UN and the United States, I'm not attacking civilians. I'm not going to use a piddly amount. No, I'm going to use a lot. I'm going to use them on rebel forces, and I'm going to kill everyone I possibly can. I'm going to make the idea of staying at war with me so god-awful that every single rebel turns tail and runs, particularly those from other countries, particularly those 25% who are Al-Qaeda members. So wouldn't it make sense that Russia might be on to something when we can't disprove what Russia is saying? That the Al-Qaeda members are the ones using chemical weapons to kill civilians to drag us into the war? Doesn't that make at least some sense? It makes a lot more sense to me because, as I said, if I'm a dictator, I'm worried about being overthrown. I'm not targeting civilians. I'm going to target rebels, and I'm going to kill a lot more people than 1,400. You know he has more chemical weapons than that. And finally, I just want to go off on how they have changed the military. And I'm proud of the military. I'm proud of every service member. This is at the administration and what they've tried to do. The Navy, a global force for good. What? No. The Marines, no longer one of the few, the proud, the Marines. No, the Marines, fighting for those who can't fight for themselves. No, 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 no. The Army is not the Peace Corps, yo. The Army is not the Salvation Army. No. The Army is not the world's policeman. No. What the Army is a force to protect Americans and America, and at the very, very least, America's self-interest, our national interest. That's it. We are not a global force for good. We are not the policemen of the world. We are not supposed to hand out Snickers to hungry, starving children. No. And matter of fact, when we go into these places, we tend to make things worse because just like Clinton in Somalia, it's like, well, the people are starving. Go give them food, but don't attack anyone because this isn't a war now. Just drop off the food and leave. So we drop off the food. What happens? All the warlords come over and get the food and use it to oppress the people even more and kill even more innocent women and children. And what do? We just keep feeding the warlords. Why? Because it gives us a warm feeling in our hearts. You know, and Obama could say, it's our job to stand up against injustice. Really? You seem pretty selective about which injustices to stand up for. We're not going up against China. We're not going up against any of the warlords in Africa. We're not going up against Kim Jong-il or his son, whatever his name is. In North Korea, no. If we wanted to save lives, if we were worried about innocent women and children, we could save a crap more lives without pissing off the international community, without risking our troops and our material and everything else, just by feeding poor children in Africa. We could show up with a box full of Snickers and we could save a lot more people than we could in Syria. We're going to do a limited engagement, which won't accomplish anything, they say. Oh, and then, you know, McCain's over there, right? He's talking, you know, well, this is going to be a limited engagement. There won't be boots on the ground. Oh, really? You know, as a Vietnam vet, I think you, of all people, should be very concerned when people say things like limited war, police action. There will never be an escalation. No, because once we get in there, right, you think our national pride's on the line now because Obama had to be all that, there will be no red line. You think it's on the line now? Wait till they blow up one of our ships, huh? Wait until we're at the prospect of losing a war. Yeah, there'll be boots on the ground at some point. There has to be. There'll be escalation. That's the end of that. Okay? And sadly, we'll probably overthrow them. Al-Qaeda will get their own little country, and we're just going to be absolutely honky-dory. Right? That's what we're doing. And that's what we're going to keep doing because we are absolutely moronic. Aren't we? Anyway, please read 2084. It's a good book. And it predicts a lot of what's going on. And War Journal, also a very good book. Long live the Constitution, and signing off.